Continuing effort on the part of the Democrats to go after Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley and other senators who supported an audit or investigation of the election result. Joe Biden himself jumped into the fray on this with a comment that likened people like Cruz and Hawley to Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. Listen.
And to hear some of my colleagues, Republican colleagues, talk about how shameful it is of the way Ted Cruz and others are dealing with this, how they're responsible as well for what happened.
Do you think some of them should resign? Should Senator Cruz or Senator Hawley resign?
I think they should be just flat beaten the next time they run. I think the American public has a real good, clear look at who they are. They're part of the big lie. The big lie. I was being reminded by a friend of mine, maybe you were with me, I can't recall, when we were told that, you know, Goebbels in The Great Lie, you keep repeating the lie, repeating the lie.
Goebbels. You can tell you've got a semi-educated guy when he's like, Hitler and his famous Lieutenant Goebbels. Anyway, we're not dealing with top-level scholarship here, but very interestingly, Biden's allusion to the big lie has been echoed all over the place. I saw a tweet by Bill Kristol, and Bill Kristol is talking about Trump's big lie. And then I see that Katie Couric was on the Bill Maher show, and she was babbling about the big lie. Katie Couric is talking about the big lie. Here's somebody, I mean, never was a person with so little talent who got so far on the simple idea of cuteness. Oh, she's so cute. But she's even talking about the big lie. So let's zoom in on this a little bit because it requires a little bit of investigation. First of all, the underlying assumption here, assumption widely shared on the left, is that Hitler was an advocate of big lies. Hitler supposedly was famous for making the comment that small lies can be detected, can be checked out, can be verified. But big lies are easier to sell than small lies precisely because they're so huge, it's tough to get your head around them. Now, I know a lot about this topic. I am actually the author of this book, The Big Lie. And it's a book about the fascist roots, the Nazi roots even, of the left. It turns out that when Hitler talked about the big lie, he was not in fact referring to himself. He was referring to the Jews. Hitler's point is that the Jews are liars. The Jews are the ones who put out these big lies about Germany. The Jews are the ones who con everybody. So you'll notice that suddenly Biden's remarks take on a whole new meaning. Why? Because here's Hitler, himself a congenital liar, lying about the Jews, lying about the target of his attack. He's blaming them for something that he's actually doing. And that is exactly what's going on here with Biden. The real liar isn't Cruz, isn't Hawley, it's Biden himself. So let's zoom into that and ask this question. What are these big lies that Biden is talking about? Let's look at a couple of them. There's no evidence of election fraud. Is that a lie? Is there, in fact, no evidence of election fraud? Show me the proof of that. Where is the place in which the issue of election fraud was adjudicated in such a way that a rational conclusion was arrived at? There is no evidence of election fraud. Election fraud did not affect the outcome. Again, pure speculation. Did it? Didn't it? Where's the proof? There hasn't been proof either way. There hasn't actually been a hearing where the claims of fraud have been put forward, where they've been challenged or rebutted, and where some kind of decision could be made. Now, it's one thing to say that something lacks substantive proof, but if something lacks substantive proof, it doesn't make it a lie. If I were to say there's life on other planets, I don't have proof. I could be wrong, but I could also be right. It's very even difficult to say what the probability is that I'm wrong, let alone that I'm lying. I'm not lying. So Biden's claim that Hawley and Cruz are lying is itself a lie. He's the one perpetrating the lie and trying to pin it on the targets of his accusation. Now, Josh Hawley, in responding to Biden's attack, uses the typical Republican words, which is, this is appalling. Here's an article. Shameful, says Missouri Senator. And this is typical Republican boilerplate. And to me, it's nonsense, because just calling these things words doesn't do anything. You've got to show why it's nonsense. You've got to show why Biden's allusion to the big lie applies more to himself than it does to Cruz or Hawley. So I'd like to call the Republican Party to get out of this, you may almost call it boilerplate rhetoric. If someone is calling you a name, show exactly why that accusation is false. Make your case. Don't just result in the normal press release language. This is disappointing. This is appalling. I demand an apology. This kind of stuff may have gotten the Republican Party to where it is, but look where the Republican Party is. We need a new way of thinking, a new incisiveness rooted in knowledge. One of the purposes of this show is to provide grounding for arguments. The reason that a lot of these clowns from Katie Couric on won't have me on their shows is they can't use phrases like the big lie to me, because I know the context of it. I will destroy them in 5 minutes, and they know that. Rachel Maddow knows that. So what these people really do is they rely on what you could call the argumentum ad ignorantium, the argument directed at the ignorant and relying on ignorance, relying on the ignorance of its audience to go, oh yeah, that's just the kind of Hitlerian big lie we've come to expect from the right. When knowledge kicks in, all of this nonsense melts away. We'll be